Storytime is brought to you by the parents and kids of Aretas Cross Freedom School, founded by Reverend Dr. Heber Brown III. It's recorded in Baltimore, Maryland in the year 2020 and was inspired by LeVar Burton's Reading Rainbow.
Yo, what's good? It's Storytime, Dr. Conley. A reading show that takes you on an odyssey. School is out, it's best that you probably get your boredom, suppress it, your personal professor. Get together, be ready for whatever. Books and treasure from B-Mall to bless ya. It's story time!
Welcome to Storytime with Dr. Connolly, kids, your personal professor. One of the things that we love to do as a family is ride our bikes, to get outside, get some fresh air, and in some ways keep an eye out for each other as we're enjoying the outdoors. Bikes are pretty incredible in that they have simple parts, wheels, frame, seat, handlebars, but they can do amazing things, allow you to cover distances, go up hills, and in some ways, feel like you're flying if you can catch high enough speed. I gotta say though too, that something as simple as a flat tire can throw you off. And in fact, we have a bike in the shop right now that's keeping us from going out as a family. The funny thing about bikes though, is that humans can do incredible things with them. And in today's story, we learn about a young boy who overcomes an incredible obstacle. An obstacle that for many would be like their flat tire in life. Emmanuel's dream is a true story of Emmanuel Ofosu-Yaboah, an activist in Ghana who advocated for those with disabilities and found a way with one bicycle to make a global impact.
Emmanuel's Dream, the true story of Emmanuel Ofosu-Yaboah. Written by Laurie Ann Thompson, illustrated by Sean Qualls. In Ghana, West Africa, a baby boy was born. 2 bright eyes blinked in the light. 2 healthy lungs let out a powerful cry. 2 tiny fists opened and closed, but only one strong leg kicked. Most people thought he would be useless, or worse, a curse. His father left, never to return, but his mother had faith. Her name was Comfort, and she named her first son Emmanuel, meaning God is with us. As Emmanuel grew, Mama Comfort told him he could have anything, but he would have to get it for himself. He learned to crawl and hop, to fetch water and climb coconut trees. He even shined shoes to earn money. Most kids with disabilities couldn't go to school. Still, Emmanuel's mother carried him there, until one day she said, "You are too heavy." From then on, Emmanuel hopped to school and back, 2 miles each way, on one leg, by himself. At first, nobody would play with him, so Emmanuel saved his money and bought something none of his classmates had. A brand new soccer ball. Of course he would share it if he could play too. Lunging and spinning on crutches his grandmother had found for him, and kicking the ball with his good left foot, Emmanuel earned their respect. His new friends sometimes used their lunch money to rent bikes. Would Emmanuel be able to join them? His friend Godwin pushed him fast so he could balance. Over and over again, Emmanuel fell. Hard. But finally, he rode. When Emmanuel was 13, Mama Comfort got very sick. She could no longer sell vegetables at the market, and Emmanuel's sister and brother were too little to work. He would have to support them. Against his mother's wishes, Emmanuel snuck out and boarded a midnight train to the bustling city of Accra, 150 miles away, alone. He didn't know it then, but it would be 2 years before he saw his family again. Emmanuel arrived full of hope. There were so many people, but no one would hire him. Shopkeepers and restaurant owners told him to go out and beg like other disabled people did. Emmanuel refused. Finally, a food stand owner offered him a job and a place to live. When Emmanuel wasn't serving drinks, he kept busy shining shoes. He earned money and sent it home. One morning, when Emmanuel went to buy shoe shining supplies, the shopkeeper thought he was there to beg and scolded him. Insulted, Emmanuel slammed his money down on the counter. The shopkeeper apologized, but Emmanuel would never forget. When Mama Comfort grew sicker, Emmanuel went home to be with her. From her bed on Christmas Eve, she told her son, "Be respectful. Take care of your family. Don't ever beg. And don't give up." By the next morning, Emmanuel's beloved mother was dead. He was heartbroken, but he knew her last words had been a gift. He would honor them by showing everyone that being disabled does not mean being unable. It was a big dream, but Emmanuel had a plan. Emmanuel had a sharp mind, a bold heart, and one strong leg. All he needed was a bike. At first, no one would help. They thought his plan to bicycle around Ghana was impossible. Then Emmanuel wrote to the Challenged Athletes Foundation, all the way in San Diego, California. They sent him a bike, plus a helmet, shorts, socks, and gloves. Emmanuel started training for the long ride. He persuaded the king of his region to give him a royal blessing. He went door to door asking for additional support. Finally, he hired a taxi to follow him with drinking water, a camera, and his best friends. Then, Emmanuel tied his right leg to the bike's frame, jammed his left foot in a flip-flop attached to the pedal, and rode. Emmanuel pedaled through the bustling city of Accra. He pedaled through rainforests, over rolling hills, and across wide, muddy rivers. He pedaled past Odum forests and plantain farms, and through the market of Kumasi. He pedaled as trucks roared past on the narrow highways and wild animals stalked his thoughts. He pedaled through vast grasslands and into the ancient city of Tamale. He rode up, down, across, and around his country, proudly wearing the colors of its flag on a shirt printed with the words, "The Pozo," or the disabled person. Along the way, Emmanuel talked to those with physical challenges and those without, to poor farm workers and wealthy landowners, to religious leaders, government officials, and reporters. He wanted everyone to see him. and his disability. He wanted everyone to hear him and his message. The farther Emmanuel rode, the more attention he got. Children cheered. Able-bodied adults ran or rode along with him. People with disabilities left their homes and came outside, some for the very first time. The young man, once thought of as cursed, was becoming a national hero. He completed his astounding journey, pedaling south to the sea and back up to Accra, nearly 400 miles in just 10 days. But Emmanuel's success goes even further than that. He proved that one leg is enough to do great things, and one person is enough to change the world. The end.
Hi, my name is Clark, and I am here to ask you a question about the story Emmanuel's Dream. Was there a time when a friend stayed behind to help you? For example, in the story Emmanuel's Dream, Godwin stayed behind to help Emmanuel learn to ride his bike with one leg. My friend stayed behind to help me out at multiple times, really. For example, my friend Addison, we do multiple things together and we always have each other's back. Thank you and thanks for watching.
Oh, snap! Who's Emmanuel Yeboah? Emmanuel Afosu Yeboah rode across Ghana in 2001. At that time, Ghana, like most of the world's countries, offered practically no protections for people living with disabilities. Even in the United States, disabled persons still get excluded from some of the country's most basic protections. As a result, some of our most important artists, writers, and freedom fighters have had to overcome the challenges of a disability. Harriet Tubman suffered from epilepsy, often blacking out during her many successful attempts to free people from slavery. Whoopi Goldberg, Danny Glover, and some of our most important actors overcame dyslexia on their way to producing timeless art. You've likely heard of Ray Charles or Stevie Wonder, but what about Tom Wiggins? Born blind and into slavery, Wiggins became one of the most important musicians of the 19th century. This leaves aside those countless people made disabled by their encounters with racism. People whose names we sometimes struggle to remember. When people make judgments about what your body can do and cannot do, it's called ableism. Fighting ableism means not just fighting for the visibly disabled. It means fighting for everyone and against any assumptions about what our bodies can do. Emmanuel Yeboah's simple but brilliant protest in 2001 brought new worldwide attention to the evils of ableism. In 2006, the Parliament of Ghana passed the Persons with Disability Act. This law requires that people with physical disabilities enjoy the same rights as the rest of Ghana's citizens. That same year, Mr. Yeboah visited the United Nations Secretary General, Kofi Annan, also of Ghana. Under Annan, the United Nations agreed to a treaty to protect disabled persons with universal rights. Over 160 countries have signed. Still, much work stands to be done in matters of employment, education, and access to food and shelter. In Ghana today, children with disabilities still must pay for education, as others receive free public education. Alongside many activists around the world, Emmanuel Yeboah continues to fight for new laws and resources to end discrimination against the disabled. The disabled are not unable, he reminds us, and we all stand able to create a more just world. Thank you, Mr. Yeboah.